Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to KeSPA Cup 2020. We've got day 3 coming up very soon, but first, unfortunately, Achilleos and I have some bad news. Fred at Brion have had to forfeit for the remainder of the tournament.
Yes.
Their director has been diagnosed with COVID-19, and I believe all the players will be going through testing, and they just weren't able to safely continue participating. So that does mean that T1 and Gen.G get some W's today. It just means that we're not actually able to cover the games. So a little bit unfortunate.
It is. It means we're going to have a shorter day. I think it's the director for their B team, so it's not the main roster. So the players that we've been seeing, or saw, I guess it's only been one day that they've played, that we saw on day 2, likely are going to be just fine, but they're taking preventative measures and having everybody self-quarantine just in case. So all preventative measures is unfortunate, but it's also the most responsible thing to do in this circumstance. So I'm glad that they are going this route rather than trying to make the players still play and then
it's more than likely that all of them are completely fine.
Yes,
actually, but you just got to make sure that in times like this, you need to be dotting your T's and crossing your I's as many times as possible.
Absolutely.
So the players' health definitely comes first. So not actually able to participate does mean we still get our first match, and I think that the strongest teams in the group didn't include Fred at Brion in them. So I think that we're still going to have just the same level of competition moving towards the end of the tournament. However, I wasn't necessarily expecting T1 to find as much success as they already have.
I know, look at that.
They're
one on the board.
1 and 2, just ridiculous. Of course, it is. It's not the T1 that you expect to see. However, the trainee team, their academy team, hasn't necessarily been performing up to snuff. I think Gen.G's showed a little bit more promise, but it's still it's still a mystery what these teams will actually look like come the LCK spring season. So
yeah,
it's a bit up in the air.
Picking up the win, Gen.G, they were able to take down T1 on day 2, so they were already at a 1-1 scoreline. Now they get their forfeit match, so they're going to have a 2-1 scoreline coming into today, which is kind of hilarious because that means that they have played more games by default at the start of today compared to Hanwha, who comes in with a 1-1 record. So if Hanwha could take down KT Rolster in our first match, then maybe they'll be able to tie with Gen.G.
Exactly.
But so we are here at day 4, and we are going to get ready to jump into some more Group B action. I don't think it's too much of a surprise. Group A, having Hanwha Gaming in there, has been a bit more competitive. Nongshim Red Force as well, looking like a pretty damn
really
good team.
Good, actually.
So quite surprising to see how well they're performing, but they've been getting work done. They were able to play just yesterday, but now we go into the dregs of the KeSPA Cup.
I mean, Group B isn't necessarily as competitive as Group A. I think that's the nice way of putting it. And now they are without one of their teams as well. So we have Gen.G, Hanwha, KT, and T1. Admittedly, some of the biggest names in the LCK. Unfortunately for this tournament, not necessarily the actual representation of what we're getting. But we already have 2 teams qualified. Nongshim versus Live Sandbox will be going up against one another. I believe, I actually thought it was going to be cross-group, but maybe we're really committed to this typo, or that's actually what's happening. But never mind, that's okay. That's okay. We will find out the next 2 teams, and we'll see who's actually going to be playing each other tomorrow for our Christmas Day broadcast.
Seems like it might be cross-group once you get to the semifinals, because whoever is going to make it out of the round of 6 from the B group side of the bracket is going to have to go up against Hanwha Gaming, which... good luck.
Yeah, that's a big good luck right there.
That's not going to be looking great. So, unfortunately, there for the bros, they have a bit of a brub moment and have to give up, as the graphic says, for the matches here today and for the remainder of the tournament. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to get to see more of the likes of Umti, who came out and had a really strong game. But it is what it is.
I think Fred at Brion actually does show a lot of promise. It's just this early on, it's very, very difficult to have a team get themselves together. And that's, I think, been, the story of the KeSPA Cup for years on in, Constantly, it's teams that have just come together trying to figure themselves out. Last year, it was a freaker, being able to find synergy really early, not necessarily having the ceiling that they wanted during the regular season. But this is all about understanding where the evolution is going to get these squads. So, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be taking a very long break after our first match.
Yes.
And the final match will also be cancelled as well. So you can see those times on your screen. They will remain the same.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately the Fred Brion games we're not going to be able to bring you because it would just be us looking at Gen.G and T1 winning by themselves, and that's not exactly all that interesting.
Them alone on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right. As Hybrid's making his debut, Achilleos, this is what we wanted.
Yes, it is. So, I mean, KT Rolster, they come into this, they have that 2-0 starting position. Because of them, there was some good play coming out, honestly. They have the backing of Yukao and Goran to be the foundation for this squad. They've overall looked really good. There's a lot of hype from Yukao in that video that we were playing on the first 2 days in regards to Bonnie and how Bonnie is, a bit like Canyon, and Yukao's going to try to be like Showmaker, and they want to bring a similar level of performance. That didn't exactly happen, but they got the job done. They come into this looking overall pretty strong. Certainly the second strongest team in the group at the moment.
And it's funny because we say second strongest, however, they are top of the group right now at 2-0. So
sometimes it just be that way.
It definitely do be that way sometimes, Achilleos. And yeah, don't get the scoreline. Don't allow that to mess with your head.
Yeah.
Because actually, Hanwha do look like the stronger team. They just seem to have some more for fun games than KT have.
Yeah, they
so far
do.
in this tournament. Yeah, the Yone into Ornn with 1 million items was definitely not really what you want.
I would call it ill-advised.
I would say so as well. And now we, of course, get the matchup. So on the other side of the Rift, it will be Hanwha Life Esports, and we'll see whether they are going to be having more fun. Johan's going to be taking the jungle position, though, Arthur, after spending a bit of time down under and then spending some time in their first few games. He's going to be sitting on the bench for a moment, but otherwise the roster will remain the same.
Yeah, Arthur didn't have the greatest game in that series versus Credit. Did get kind of just bodied by Empty at certain points. The Nidalee didn't really work out for them. I don't think we're going to be seeing another Yone, though, as you were already mentioning. That was Chovy trying to just show off a little bit, and it came back to bite him in the rear very quickly.
Yeah, I think he was attempting to flex a little bit, and admittedly, he farmed like an absolute monster. I actually don't know how this team found as many minions as they did on the map, because they had every single carry 60 CS in the lead, and then they lost. That's how it basically worked.
Yeah, it just kind of felt like at a certain point, the Deft was the only one who was seriously playing and trying to get the victory, while Chovy was just having fun in the mid lane with the Yone. But he couldn't kill anybody. Despite nearly flame horizoning his opponent in the mid, he could not kill a Syndra. He couldn't kill a Jhin. There was just too much protection and peel coming through from the Leona, from the Ornn. was too much of a threat with the Graves. He couldn't get anything done. It was hilarious. He was auto-attacking and critting an Ornn for about 76 damage.
Yeah, I was watching him hit him in the bottom lane. It was one of the saddest moments of my life.
Yeah.
It's just watching
That's exactly what I'm talking
about.
Like
the best mid laner in the LCK, potentially. We don't necessarily have that proven just yet, but there's a lot of people that believe that. Just trying to take down this Ornn that's ignoring him. It's like, I'm relevant, but no, it just wasn't the case in that game.
It seems like crit ADC's really good right now. That's the way you want to go. Crit mid laners.
I mean, he could have played Lucian.
Especially crit mid laners who lose bonus crit, damage from gaining crit, not going to be too great.
No, and it definitely did not work in that particular game. You sort of understood what they were trying to do with the draft, but when the Yone came in, I think it was more of a Chovy wants to have fun this game and play some Yone, and admittedly, his mechanics was sick.
Yeah.
It's just, sometimes it just doesn't work in the team comp. And we'll see whether against KT they're going to be able to show us exactly what they really are capable of, because it's going to even out the scoreline. And then we just get to see whether or not we get a tiebreaker towards the end of the day as well. It might be that the day is going to last just as long, ladies and gentlemen, because there could be a couple of ties that we're going to have to get through. T1 or Gen.G, depending on which one of them is going to make it through or not, is going to be another one of these questions. Of course, only 3 teams will go through to the next round, and we'll have to decide who's going to be going through at which position as well, because getting that bye from being first in the group is going to be very important, much like Damwon has already done.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely huge, so we'll see. I think it's likely that it's going to end up being Hanwha Life, but it depends on which Hanwha Life shows up in this first game. Depending on how long this goes, if it's a very quick game, then yeah, we will have that long break that you're talking about. But if this actually is going to end up being a competitive match, which is what I'm hoping for, then maybe we actually start closer to our normal time if they can stretch this over towards 40 minutes. But seems like we are ready to jump into the draft, and already the likely suspects, the usual suspects, are on the board. Lucian and Pantheon going to be taken away.
Yep. Lucian, definitely ridiculous at this point in time. Hanwha have got the memo. They're like, dang, this Zorn guy pretty good. He kind of stopped us from having any fun last game.
All right, maybe the Yone will return.
Yeah, maybe that's exactly what they're going for. That was the game plan. It's like, let's find a way to play Yone. How do we do that? Oh, we just ban on. Okay, yeah. That's fine.
At that point, I'd be more impressed that they have that much faith in the pick. But with the order off the table, you never know. Orianna to follow up, just getting rid of some standard comfort from Chovy. We've seen him take the Orianna very early into the draft in their first series, and he was absolutely able to destroy T1 with that Orianna pick. So unsurprising to have that removed from the board, as well as the Renekton, which has been cropping up more and more in the ban list.
And also Dudu loves playing it. However, I think it's a little bit of an oversight to allow the Graves through. Dudu thinking about just locking in his comfort, and he is going to do that. I think this is odd. I think that snapping up the Graves is exactly what you want to do, but Johan not wanting to do that just yet. Of course, this guy, formerly Winter, played on Spear Gaming, which was a team that we kind of liked. He spent some time with Gen.G after that on their academy roster. But he's an older player. Like, this guy's he's 21. He's definitely not
ancient.
He's not a youngin like some of them. You know, Canyon making his debut at 17 years old and playing his smartest score. Like, it's just stupid, some of these players that are so extraordinarily young. And yes, there is saltiness in my voice because I'm an old man.
He had a lot of tape to study, so he could be, you know, at a similar level of scoring.
I mean, that is very true. That is the problem of having everything that you've done for a large portion of your life televised.
So far, KT maybe just don't go for the Graves. So maybe it actually stays open for the second round draft of Hanwha Life. And yes, it will, because Bonnie is going to be going for the Nidalee.
Yeah, it's just going to try and deny some of that theoretical synergy that you can have. Talia also one of these options that has certainly cropped up. And Johan's thinking about it. Feels like Talia Graves are the two that are most coveted. But it's all about the team compositions that you want as well. A lot of these teams do like to be able to flex into some more AD in the mid lane, especially when Lucian's left open and when Chovy feels inclined to play Yone, which I think he may sidle away from this time around, as there's the Samira paired alongside the Alistair and in the hands of Hybrid. This is actually terrifying. Hybrid is a hard carry. The only thing that Hybrid does is take control of a game by himself and win. It was the only way Solo One Prince did anything last year. It was if Hybrid decided to put everyone on his back and carry them across the line. So I'm just so excited to see him back. This guy has so much potential. And I think a lot of it was realized last year.
All right, well, the self-ban comes through on the Yone.
I really hope that was Def that just decided to like press the ban button himself. He's like, no, Chovy, this ain't happening.
Yeah, I mean, they have the Galio here. Very well could just be an early safe pick for Chovy and try to get counter picks.
He did make the best play of this year on the Galio, if we remember.
Yeah.
Against Gen.G.
Very true. The turnaround fight in the jungle.
Yeah.
I do recall it. KeSPA final ban now from KT, so just looking to chip away at Def's pool, but the misfortune is up, so I think it might just end up being a misfortune.
Could be. I'd be sad. I kind of wanted to play Kalista or something like that. They could play Kalista Galio on the bottom side of the map, and then Chovy could pick Zed or just have fun. Maybe they pick Yasuo. I mean, there is some synergy there. This is an AoE knockup with Galio. Couple of them, in fact.
Yeah.
And if Def plays Kalista, that's even more synergy. I'm feeling it. I reckon if one brother doesn't work, pick the other one. It's probably not going to happen. It's probably not going to happen.
The favorite son.
Yeah. Doran is going to go towards one of his favorites as well. I kind of look at Summit, Rich, and Doran as being our Aatrox guys. They just love it. Pick it all the time. That is a Kalista, as we were expecting. And now we'll see where Chovy is going to go, or whether or not he's just going to go for the Galio, because, you know, we've got the Camille-Galio combo right here. But I'd just like to see a little bit more AD. So they certainly can do that, given the Talia. And just make sure that Johan is going to have as much impact as possible on this game. UCal could also be playing the Aatrox in the mid lane. We actually have our two mid lane Aatrox guys, but it's not going to be AD. It is going to be the Syndra that Chovy picks up. And just opting in for the safety that a Syndra provides, blind picked.
Let's see if it's what they want to go for here.
It can't be Orianna Syndra, so I'm happy about that. Does Yukao just play, I was thinking like Victor Azir or something like that for the most boring option.
We did have a Victor on, day one, and it was Yukao who played it. So he was doing some pretty serious work with the pick. I keep saying day one. Day 2 of the tournament, day 1 of Group B.
Yep. Not going to have all that much gank assist alongside in Italy. I actually feel like the 2v2 mid lane is going to be 100% Hanwha Life favored, especially if Yukao loses summoners in the earlier stages. So Johan and Chovy could have a pretty fun time. However, the top side of the map, you can set things up for the Nidalee with an Aatrox. But not a lot of hard CC. It's a bit of an awkward Nidalee composition out of KT, and maybe Bonnie will just look to try and devastate Johan's jungle instead of going for any gank plays or anything like that.
You're kind of going to have to just use the Infernal Chains on the Camille after she's hook-shotted, otherwise she'll just jump out of it.
Yeah.
And then hope that you can get the gank off from there. It's going to be interesting to see how exactly KT is going to pilot this. I'm excited to see Dudu play the Camille again, because he did, as most Camille's often do, turn into an absolute monster in the top lane.
It's also, one of those things that Dudu certainly showed that he had a lot of mastery of throughout the year. And Dudu was a player that we didn't have a lot of expectations for moving into Hanwha Life.
Is it because of the name?
Well, the name doesn't necessarily make you feel like instant success.
Doesn't instill confidence?
Yeah, it's like you've got Showmaker in the mid lane, you're like, oh, I think I know what he's going to do, It's like he's going to flex his emotes at Worlds, whereas Dudu, immediately you think he's going to do stuff. Yeah, right? Let's get into game 1. Okay, so now that we are onto the Rift, Achilleos.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've commentated together.
I would say it's been since the last KeSPA Cup.
I think it has. I think it was when you were my knight in shining armor coming to save me.
Yes, that was actually the last time that we commentated, so it's been about a year.
It has. And there's been some evolutions in the game of League of Legends.
Oh,
I know that you've been studying up a little bit. I've
been noticing the evolutions. Even some of the items that are still in the game that I actually know now have reworked artwork and everything like that.
I know. How cool is Seeker's arm guard? It actually looks like an arm guard now.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that I do enjoy the changes to.
That's my all-time favorite. There are some of them that I'm a little bit upset with because now it's just like I don't recognize this thing that I've known forever.
Yeah, do we need to change the Doran's blade and the ring? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
They just look a bit more jaggedy.
I'm warming up to it, but initially when I looked at Doran's blade, I was like, it looks like it's made out of foam. It's like a LARP weapon.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean exactly. And also, we're creatures of habit, right? In the esports world, we often get pretty scared of change, and so I'm just against anything changing, to be perfectly honest.
Well, you picked the wrong sport to get into.
Yes, certainly did.
Every single November.
Hybrid certainly struggling here. We almost had a team fight before I actually got to the crux of what I was going to talk to you about. Do you want to play-by-play or analyze today?
Let me just freeform it.
Do you want to just freeform?
Yeah, why not?
Fair enough, too. I like it.
It's either going to be really good or really tragic.
Exactly. Well, I mean, kind of like the laning phase for KT right now. Deft and Vista really looking good. I think Vista looked phenomenal on their first day.
He did.
He was very, very strong. He looked like a man so happy to be back in his main role and back on the roster.
Yeah. I mean, his first game, especially when he was playing the Shen, was really good. The second series, which resulted in the loss, that's when it was a little less impressive. But he also just had no real way to make anything happen, just given what they had drafted, how the game was going. He was doing his damnedest to try to keep Deft alive and make sure the Deft could pop off on the Kalista. But unfortunately, he just wasn't a very tanky Maokai.
No.
Go in and just kind of get shredded down.
And I'm kind of looking at these compositions, and I'm feeling like, no one necessarily hard wins at a certain stage. This isn't going to be another example of Hanwha Life running into a brick wall at about 25 minutes or anything like that. They've got an Aatrox towards the top side, not going to scale quite as hard as a Camille in a side lane. But it is support Galio this time around, so the amount of roaming that he's going to throw out in the earlier stages could definitely help as far as getting Dudu that advantage. So look to see what Vista's actually going to get up to as this game goes on. Plus, Weaver's Wall will allow Johan to get around there. So I'm looking at the mid-game as being very strong for Hanwha. There's a flash forward. Yep. Great headbutt back. Deft not going to flash. He knows he's dead.
Yeah, not much to be done there. Just position too far forward. Still playing aggro. And that's just going to be the shutdown. Really nice headbutt, pulverized back over towards the tower. Just guarantee the kill. They knew that Bonnie was in the area as well. So odd to still be posturing so far forward there from Deft. But seems like he just put a little bit too much stock in being able to escape. But like you said, does hold on to the flash and the heal. Knew that he was dead to rights as soon as he saw the Niddle. He's like, ah, you got me.
Yep. And it's just a very Deft thing to do, right? The guy just plays hyper aggressively these days. And that's it. That's why he won the 1v1 tournament, because he couldn't get ganked like that. He got to just play aggressive the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, in a vacuum, he's going to be, potentially one of the best ADCs in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, and all those other factors, those random factors like junglers and supports, and
I know.
Suddenly it can go sideways.
Suddenly you have an argument on your hands. That's my favorite part about it.
That too.
Bit of a back coming through here as Zeus has well and truly roamed. Was very exciting, but he's just going to go home. Going to meet back up with Hybrid towards the bottom side there. Slight longsword advantage here from Hybrid after that, as we have a look at this replay once again. And yeah, it's just the pole flash.
Yep.
All too easy.
Yep, he was just dead. As soon as the pulverize went off, I mean, unless Zeus accidentally completely whiffed the headshot and knocked him up the lane, he was going to die.
Yeah. Not happening. He's playing that one out pretty well. And Alistair really showing his value. Being very, very popular so far throughout this tournament and throughout the preseason around the world. Shout out to those that have been keeping up with the Demacia Cup. It was a pretty exciting FPX versus top match that happened. I didn't actually see the results, so no spoilers on this particular broadcast, but if you guys want to watch it, definitely recommend it.
I wouldn't be able to spoil it even if I wanted to. I'll be honest, I haven't gotten to watch.
Good. Because, we got to be focusing on getting to work and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
We couldn't actually watch it, unfortunately.
Getting to work, grading.
Oh, yeah. No, there's certainly
too many.
There's a lot of responsibilities that we have at this time. I needed to call my mom as well. Most of the time I managed to make it back to Australia for Christmas, but not happening this year.
Why?
Definitely. Well, there's this pandemic situation thing. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, something like
that. Yeah, I think that's why we're having a shorter day today. As Taunt comes out here from Vista. Looks for Hybrid as Zeus is trying to turn it around. This guy has absolutely no fear, but maybe he should have. Vista's going to flash out of the way. Deft trying to use that martial pose and does have to flash in the end after the CC comes through. Doran coming down. They're still looking for a potential dive.
He's going to take a mild amount of damage from that Ren. Doesn't manage to make it out of the infernal chains. Gets clipped by the Q. Doran goes
flash.
deep, but that is going to be the taunt from Vista.
It's exciting, though.
It was, and now Johan does find that killing blow, but here comes Mikal from around the back. He'll go ahead and help finalize one more kill. Deft can be toved on by Hybrid, jumps in underneath the tower. He's quite low, but Johan's also out of mana. A couple auto attacks and the help of the minions would finish him off. Hybrid going to be dashing forward, looking for this finishing shot. Gets him so very low. Is unable to do so. Meanwhile, up the lane, Dudu has joined in the fray on the backside of the TP. Does manage to find Bonnie. All things considered, it's a mess. 4-3.
Yeah, I was going to say, who actually won that teamfight at Kilios? I don't think anyone really knows. It did certainly start off with a lot of excitement, and I like Zeus's idea. This guy, not afraid of anything. Should have been. Definitely died way too early in this fight. Vista manages to escape, and Deft has to flash relatively early, and here's where the Yakety Sax comes in.
Yeah.
Doran decides, look, I'm going to nail this infernal chain, then we can go back in. I'm flashing forward under a turret and getting taunted, of course. But then they bring extra people. Chovy's already roaming down, and I believe there's a teleport about to be channeled from the Camille as well. So no one really able to escape as Johan and Hybrid trying to fight this one out. I don't even really remember who managed to pick up this victory, and it was Johan. In the end, Bonnie also suffering at the hands of Dudu and Chovy. So you were absolutely correct in saying that this was a mess. And sometimes you just funnel everyone through and things don't necessarily work out. As Deft in the mid lane here, doing his best Sulker impression. before he heads back down to try and pick up this wave.
Yeah, so Hanwha at the end of this, you know, will keep a very slight little lead here, so as a concern, it's minute, but now they can stretch that as they have the major rotation of the Galio up towards the top side of the map, gets the priority on the Rift Herald. Chovy's been holding the wave. Also has swapped out, and Dudu's in mid, so there's a lot of shenanigans going on right now for Hanwha with their rotations.
Yep, just trying to make sure that they can hoover up as much of the gold as possible. Things very even, but a slight lead for Hanwha, I guess, based on farm, and also based on Johan being a giant. The Talia being ahead as well is actually very, very good for this composition. Not necessarily as much as if Chovy was playing on something with more of an attack damage based build, but still, Johan is going to be very, very strong in this game. And they're just going to go full first brick with Deft up here towards the top side. They've got the Rift Herald.
They're going to be committing the Rift Herald to this to try to break down the tower before the first brick can come through for Hybrid in the bottom side of the map, where he's been getting solo plates this entire time. Yeah. Whereas Deft was sharing at least the first few with Chovy. So a bit of a split gold going between the mid and the ADC. Obviously not that big a deal. But they do manage to get the first tower, stretch the lead a little bit more, as well as get a nice chunk of damage, taking the inner turret here in the top lane, down below half HP. So that sets them up nicely with a 1k gold lead for the moment. Wave crashing down in the bot, not too certain if that's going to kill the tower or not, but with the arrival of Dudu, seems like he's just going to be prioritizing knocking these minions down.
Yep. Bonnie already with the Night Harvester completed as well, so that's a very, very strong Nidalee at this point in time. I believe Johan's going to be pretty close to his Mythic. We'll be looking for the Ludens most likely, and Gale Force is well and truly on the way here for Hybrid if that's where he chooses to go. My build path knowledge, I'm pretty sure it's built out of some of these items, but perhaps not. I think that maybe that Vampiric Scepter might be a bit of a giveaway in a different direction. Of course, there's been a lot of shield bows on the Samira. But what I meant to say is that Hybrid is just really strong at the moment, and KT are playing like a Hybrid team.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't necessarily the way that they did it last time around. I believe it was Noah that was playing for them, and he didn't demand quite as much as what Hybrid does from every single team that he's with. And you can see he's was prioritized a lot as far as giving all of that free time on the bottom side of the map to grab all of those plates, get that extra money. He has a slight lead over Deft as well. And looking forward to seeing whether the Hybrid carry is going to be unleashed further into this game that we go. Zeus spotted out here as you can see Vistic, which is a bit antsy.
Wants to get this ward, love to take it down, but he's thinking about it. Is it too risky? Does manage to find it.
Yep, gets it in the end. Q goes a little bit wide there from Hybrid. As, yep, the Luden's now done. Looks like Divine Sunderer for Dudu. We have seen a few different schools of thought when it comes to the Camille. Some like the Divine Sunderer, others like the Trinity Force. I think I like the Armor Pen rather than... okay, never mind. Looking for Zeus. He does have the Unbreakable Will.
He does jump forward. It's a big chunk from the spear there out for Bonnie. Night Harvester. Hoping to really knock down the HP bars. But it seems like everybody's just going to go their separate ways after that.
Wait, it wasn't a Divine Sunderer. I take it all back. Never mind. Trinity Force just comes out.
Oh, yeah. It's a must for the Camille.
Yeah, I got completely trolled. Thought that he had bits of that.
I forget the actual name of the axe that builds into Trinity Force, but I never see that. It's like, yep, that's going to be a Divine Force. Doran going to be jumped on due to chasing forward. Yeah, there's just nothing he can do. Ult comes out, he's locked in.
That's what we call a Trinity Force power spike, ladies and gentlemen.
And it happened 12 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and it happened right after he got his Trinity Force as well. And maybe Doran was the same as me. He's like, I think he's building a Divine Thunder. He's not going to have that crazy huge power spike. It's absolutely not what he was thinking, guys. Doran knows exactly what's going on. But unfortunately, just forgot to press tab when Dudu made it back to the lane. And it's pretty inexcusable, to be perfectly honest, being that far down the lane when you don't have your Gore Drinker completed and he just finishes off his Trinity Force.
Oh, even with a Gore Drinker, I don't think...
oh, yeah, no, but like...
I think you're still screwed.
Yeah, you see that Trinity Force and you run.
Yeah.
And you don't do this.
You don't... Stop hitting Q. Slow comes in, the hook shot's done. And it's like, okay.
I think he also took a turret shot, just for good measure. But there was absolutely no way Doran was getting any joy from that situation whatsoever.
He didn't do any favors for himself. I mean, he's almost lost this inner turret at top. There's, like you were saying, basically no excuse for him to be pressed up that far against the enemy turret. So now he can be worried because clearly he is absolutely soloable by this Camille.
Oh yeah, it's the little blue sword, isn't it? Yeah, the little blue sword. That's the problem that I had with the Trinity Core situation.
The Sheen?
No, not the Sheen. I know that one. That one I've picked up on over the years. The other guy, little blue guy. What was it? What's it called again? The Half-Bound guy. Yeah, because it's got a silly name. I always think of World of Warcraft. Like, is he going home?
It's
the Hearthstone axe.
Hearthbound axe.
Sorry, yes, yes. Yeah, going home. Well, we got some Leandri's Anguish picked up here. The shield bow done for deft. A lot of mythics now put together for Hanwha. As turret plates have just fallen down. A little bit more picked up over the Hanwha side, but as we talked about, okay. Another flash pulverize as Vista trying to get out. Fate's Call is, of course, there, though, so the Gargoyle will be okay. Uses a very safe jump back from the Fate's Call.
Okay, Weaver's Wall cut off as they try to get their way over towards the Dragon. So this buys them some time, but it doesn't really stop the inevitable fight around this Dragon, if they actually want to fight for it. It's a mountain, so they could just kind of concede this, but it would be second Drake over to KT. So it seems like they are going to be sticking around and trying to find an avenue of approach. Johan currently waiting in the river brush.
Coming down lower and lower.
Pressing forward, Dragon falls low. Doesn't get the spite. It's going to be Hybrid who actually finds the final blow on that one. Now he dashes forward, finds the kill on the enemy Talia. The back line on top of Chovy, looking for the kill with the ultimate rolling. He'll not be able to finish him off quite yet, but he takes that Syndra dangerously low. Then the flashes over the wall, goes straight into Doran's open arms. Strikes him down, flashes the wall to chase in on the Dudu. One more shot would finish him off, doesn't quite find it. Jumps the wall though, and he will have it in the end. That is absolutely massive for the side of KT. 4 kills, Chovy the only one standing, and they lose no one.
And I think Chovy just teleported out of that fight at the end and went top lane. He was like, oh no, this is a disaster, we ain't doing this. And he just gets out of there. That was not very well executed on the Hanwha side. As we have a look at the replay, it was good setup at the very beginning, making sure that all of KT were together and ready. Good smite comes out of the Samira as Hybrid gets a whole bunch of resets on the back end. And yeah, Vista, I mean, he gets decent amounts of CC, but the coordination just wasn't here. Deft wasn't able to offer any damage whatsoever. And Dudu tries to escape, and Chovy goes into the enemy jungle and flies towards the top lane.
Yeah. And this is a major swing now for KT. Up in gold, 1.3 thousand, securing a Rift Herald for themselves in the moment. There's no one even nearby to remotely try to contest, not that they could. That's going to further break down turrets, allowing them to get a lead in that regard. And just continue to rack up the gold for themselves. A 3-1-2 Samira with a 400 gold bounty on her head is absolutely terrifying. Shield Bow's completed, has the Collector as well for that 5% execute. On the side of Deft, clearly, his own shield bow, not enough to keep him alive in these situations, and it doesn't give him any damage. So it's going to take a while for this Kalista to actually be able to really chip away at anybody on the side of KT.
Yeah, this is real scary on their side, and it just looks to me like they haven't been able to execute on their comp. They really want Dudu to be sitting in a side lane, putting on extra pressure, and not necessarily giving KT these 5v5s where the Samira can pop off and everybody else can help him succeed. And Zeus has been just not allowing Hanwha to make any of those decisions. His engages have been so clean so far on this Alistar.
It's been a very solid start for him. Consistently just getting those isolating headbutts onto Deft to force him into the members of KT so they can all focus fire him. This does make me question a little bit, the Galio support when the Leona was very much available.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly understand why Galio support is a thing.
Much like I understand why Maokai support is a thing, but I don't think it's very good.
That is a good point. He can do some damage, though, if you mess up the damage graph at the end of the game.
Yeah.
As we saw a couple of days ago. Very amusing.
Death by 1,000 saplings.
Oh, speaking of... this might be how Hanwha are going to win the game. I pause themselves.
My name's Chovy. You might be wondering how I got myself in this situation.
let's go back a little bit. We will get word on exactly what has happened here. But remember, this is an online tournament, so there's a fair bit that goes into making sure that all of this works just fine. And so it might just be another one of these cheeky audio issues, or
could very well be.
Yeah, it's a something issue.
Had the call, but couldn't quite hear it.
Yeah,
so it's okay. We'll have a pop up on the screen momentarily, I'm sure, unless we get it fixed before they make the graphic for it. There you go, audio issue.
The classic audio issue. And it's hybrid as well, so he needs to be able to yell at his team to tell them to do exactly what he wants them to do. So very important that we sort that one out. But it will be fixed up pretty quickly. I hazard to guess, because this has happened a couple of times. And,
conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
There are no audio issues. They are all toilet issues.
Well, this is what I was thinking. I, for some reason, thought it was Marin when it was definitely QV. And
it was
got
QV.
Egg all over my face the other day.
It was absolutely QV. Was Marin?
Marin was, I think, in the series, but on the other side. Because I just seem to remember looking at his face during the toilet issue.
Yeah.
But if there's a toilet issue, I shouldn't be able to look at his face. So it's actually just really stupid of me to think that that's how it's supposed to go. I don't know. That's my justification for my terrible mishap. That's my excuse.
Out of all the issues that happened when we did have the OGN SPO TV split, that was definitely the best one. That was hilarious.
Yeah, we were just the OGM boys sitting at home enjoying the toilet issue when it came up onto the screen.
Yeah,
because I was having a lot of fun that season. I remember.
They were. That was after they had fixed a lot of the issues that they initially had, and we weren't doing the piggyback broadcasting anymore.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to suffer through that phase.
No, I wasn't there for that one.
That was Monty and I, and occasionally Papa Smithy.
That was some dark
Mostly
ages.
Monty and I, whenever we commentated together, we just always had the worst time with the piggyback. So.
Because that was when it was broadcast from SPO, but OGN did the English broadcast or something like that, right?
Well, we both had English broadcasts simultaneously.
Oh, but because I always thought that the show happened in SPO.
It was in SPO, and they had their own English broadcast on site on their stream, as well as a Korean broadcast. Oh. And then OGN had their Korean broadcast and their English broadcast.
So it is what I was saying, but there's just everyone's commentating it at the same time.
It was 4 concurrent broadcasts happening simultaneously. It was a really bizarre time in esports, but I mean, I can look back on it fondly because I mean, as brutal as an hour and a half long pause is to try to get KT, funnily enough, loaded into the server, it was just fun to completely screw around with the chat and play Hangman and show our socks and everything like that. I think it was the first time that I ever had to do a really long pause, and then ever since then, I've just been like, well, I'm fine.
I guess we're set for life with that,
exactly.
Forever.
I ran the gauntlet on that one, and now anytime there's a long pause, I'm just like, okay, let's podcast. I can always play Hangman.
Mm-hmm. You can even do that in the middle of games, Sometimes you have games that last an hour and a half.
True.
And look, all of that was not action. I was watching, and that was a marathon. I remember, what was it, 1 a.m. turning up at a bar like you used to be able to do, guys? Those were those things that you used to go with your friends to and hang out.
Yeah.
Don't quite remember what they were, but I read about it in a book recently, and it reminded me of meeting up with you guys after that 90-minute series.
Papa and I always had some interesting ones because we had the record-breaking, CS game. I think it was the top.
That was
3.
it. That was the 90-minute one.
Yeah, it was 94 minutes.
Everyone had 1,300 CS.
94 and a half minutes. I think it might have been 94 minutes and 37 seconds. Might have been the final
something
time
like that.
We had that, and then I think all of the previous top CS records, the top 4, got shattered by players in there. And there was potential that one of the supports was going to be able to beat one of the previous CS records that was set by an AD carry in the LCK just because the game went on for so long. Then there was another time where we got snowed in. We had a late night of back-to-back 3-game sets at OGN. We didn't get out until 12:30, and a blizzard had set in while we were at the studio, and we were trapped. We walked around in the snow for 40 minutes looking for a taxi or some vehicle to get out of there, and we could not find anything. The trains were closed. The buses weren't running because it was after midnight. And our good friend Wolf, who you've commentated with and Brendan did yesterday, had to hire a taxi to come pick us up from
You sure you didn't need to hire a snowplow? Like,
yeah, he got a cab to drive from around like the Hongik University area over to the OGN studio in Sangam, pick us up, and we also got to give Gorilla a ride home because he was in the same boat where he could not find a ride. So we took a taxi home with Gorilla.
It's adorable. The things that we used to have to do for esports when it used to snow in Korea, I'm still so salty. We had like a bit of snow on the ground the other day.
We did.
But it was such a tease. It was so such a tease. And as an Australian, I'm here in the northern hemisphere where it's supposed to snow for a reason. And I don't want this just -10 and dry.
Yeah.
That's just awful.
Well, we were supposed to go.
I want the snow and the
We were going to go snowboarding in a couple of weeks, but we had to cancel that just because we want to be safe.
Well, also all the ski fields are now closed.
That too.
Because of
we canceled
COVID?
Before that happened.
Yeah, we did.
So we were extra cautious.
Yeah, we're even more careful than the ski fields themselves.
But I was looking forward to that. I haven't been snowboarding since I first moved here.
Yeah, I was looking forward to board games, man. That's what I was looking forward to.
That too.
That was going to happen. But now I guess we can get back into the game where KT continuing to press their lead forward. Couple of 1,000 gold here as we tick towards the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, Rift Herald was used in the mid lane, as we saw right when the pause screen came up. Chovy was able to just walk away scot-free, but had to sack the tower. So 3-2 in that regard. KT still going to be up 1.7k gold, so a decent little lead. Not insurmountable. Always have to have that caveat, but it's not looking great. We can start playing around these dragons a bit better as KT very well could set themselves up with an Infernal Soul.
Yeah. And that is the absolute dream. We already have Earth, Wind, and Fire put together.
A Samira with Infernal Soul is just I
mean, I'm already scared of Hybrid playing Samira full stop.
Okay, so they're going to Weaver's Wall to try to cut off. Bonnie can jump the wall or just wait for it to expire. It's dangerous. Low, 1,300 remaining. Press forward. The fight comes down way too early. Oh no! Johan just handing it over to him. Now he jumps in and takes him down as well. Thank you very much for the Dragon. One more away from that Dragon Soul now as KT continues to press the issue, looking for some additional kills here on the backside of the Dragon fight. Protein coming down, drags him back through. Hybrid finds the kill. The back line goes to Camille, gets jumped over to the side. Cinder will land the final one as Doran does fall.
Oh,
Hybrid though jumps straight in on top of both of them. The Q will miss Chovy as he dives in underneath the tower, so they will not be able to get the Syndra nor the Callista, but the damage is done. 3 more kills over to KT.
Yep, 3 for 1, only Doran falling down in that fight. And KT just seemed to be winning and winning and winning. Hybrid not being able to pick up that double kill at the end. That will definitely happen after he goes back to the shop again. 4, 1, and 3 now as the dust is settling. And we've seen what Samira can do. I mean, Ghost demonstrated it to us in day 1. Picking up pentakills and quadrakills. It was like, didn't he get quadrakill into pentakill in that day? Something ridiculous like that. Very, very strong. But now it's Hybrid. I mean, this guy, he was the one that demonstrated exactly how busted 200 years of experience can get you.
Yeah. She's really good.
Well, I mean, she's like ranged Katarina, which is just so silly, to be perfectly honest. Let's have a look at this again. So early, threaded volley almost gets the Drake, but this was desperation from Hanwha, and they didn't really need to be this desperate, right?
Yeah.
They set up the Weaver's Wall. They thought they were going to be able to burst down the Drake, but I think Def may have jumped out of the pit a little bit too early. The Rend not actually really there to help secure the Drake. Might just be showing some early jitters for a very young team, even though this fight almost went a lot better than it could have.
Yeah, I mean, it almost just seems like Def kind of saw the writing on the wall, so wanted to bail out, but the rest of the team didn't get the memo. It's just unfortunate. Having something stolen away like that should be basically impossible when you have a Callista on the squad. But like you said, if he's not going to be in the pit, not going to be able to rend down the Dragon, then it's just going to lead to takeaways like that. So KT on Soul Point now for an Infernal Drake, which is just absolutely disgusting given the state of the Samira. 4-1-3 with a 600 gold bounty. I mean, even if Deft kills her and gets the 600 gold bounty, there's still so much more work that needs to be done for Hanwha Life to try to get back into this. This isn't a position where you can have, an 80k just suddenly pop off and take down everyone. There's too much CC on the side of KT that if they all just pile on top of Def, no matter how fed he gets, they should be able to finish him off.
Yeah, I mean, he's 50 CS behind, hasn't picked up a kill yet. He's died 3 times. Like, this is not the kind of Kalista that is going to be doing too much as this game goes on. I think this game is going to be about Chovy finding a way to participate. Him, on the other hand, is ahead by 50, as is Chovy's way. You know, he's currently 30 CS up on the clock, which is, you know, something that we've grown used to, I guess. Dudu also, I mean, he's getting closer and closer to being able to find his split pushing items, but I think the rest of the 4 that's going to be trying to allow this Camille to get work done is just going to fold as soon as KT moves towards them. And with Zeus, I mean, the dive potential is just so frightening. Because, yeah, Dudu sitting in a side lane, just not really allowed to. So you can see Hanwha were trying to rotate over to try and protect him. It just really feels like this composition hasn't got off the ground, and with a minute to go until this Infernal Soul is available, could just be a team fight that will just end the game if KT are going to be able to continue fighting as well as they have been.
And KT have just, they've netted, you know, too many objectives. They have all the outer turrets taken down, which gives them innate access into the blue side jungle, so they have this warded out, so they can't really put Dudu into a position where he can safely split push unless they can retake some territory. That's going to have to start with this Infernal Drake that's coming up now in 40 seconds. A must-fight situation for Hanwha Life.
Yeah.
It's just rough.
It is real rough. It's exactly what I was going to say. I feel like we've synergized beautifully already.
Mind melded.
Exactly, exactly. And yeah, Johan building towards his second item. He's got a stopwatch chilling there, but not too much more. Bonnie, Zhonya's complete now next to his Night Harvester. This is it's looking like KT's to win, even though the gold lead is not necessarily exponential at this point. You know, it's not like they've been able to drill ahead as fast as, you know, a team like Hanwha could potentially do with how good their laners are. But it just feels like the team fights, none of them have gone the way of Hanwha. Weaver's Wall comes through yet again.
Does split them, but missed it in a good spot where he could have gotten a triple taunt off, but would have been isolated. The rest of the squad wasn't close enough to him yet. We go back over to the Dragon, taking it down to half HP. Def starting to get some Ren stacks in.
Yep, good double stun there from Chovy as the Drake going down very low. Yeah, it looks like Bonnie's going to be able to secure it. No contest at all as Johan is going to make it out alive. But that's a free Infernal Soul. And KT just going to move back to the mid lane and decide that this is going to be good enough.
That, they needed to win that right there. Hanwha Life not getting the takeaway on the Dragon is absolutely brutal for them now. Recall starting to come through. KT is going to be scooping up whatever items they can afford for now. Clearing out the waves in top to make sure that turret does not get chunked down.
It's going to be so hard to kill Hybrid. Shieldbow, Bloodthirster, Collector, and a Stopwatch there. With his steel caps as well. Is not Ninja Tabis. This is, this is a real, real tanky Samira. And she does a hell of a lot of damage at the same time. And only is extending this lead. 70 CS ahead of Def. There's Chovy, his ex-teammate bearing down on him, flashes over, but Dudu not going to quite find the kill or the CC. But, that's a Golden Aatrox who will be going down. Dudu should be able to find this one. Chovy wants to collect a kill for himself, not going to get there, but that's too invested. And the Baron going down.
Yeah, there is a TP available for Dudu. He's relatively healthy, so can respond to this. Chovy, however, has to go back first to get topped up, and then can TP into the fight. Seems like KT, well aware of this, so we'll just go ahead and leash the Baron back.
Yeah, so. Ward in the back of the pit now as well. Will need to be cleared here by KT. So, in the end, it is actually Hanwha just getting a pick, being able to continue this split push. Not exactly stabilization, but the gold lead has not been extended. And Chovy now has a Void Staff. This guy's starting to get very, very dangerous. It's not one of these, Banshee's Veil style of builds or anything like that either. There's a lot of damage coming out of the Syndra if she is able to unload. We'll just have to see.
And that's a good response, from Hanwha Life. They get the pick down to the bottom side of the map. They see exactly where KT's at. They try to force the Baron. They stop that from happening, and then that allows for Dudu to just go ahead and push down the bottom lane. Gets quite a bit of damage in. If you take a look at the replay, good flash over this guy. But then there's just nothing you can really do. Locked in by the ultimate, and there's just too much damage here. Maybe could have gotten a turn on to Chovy and tried to equalize, make it a 1-for-1 exchange, but he was going to be dead no matter what.
Yeah. All right. So Chovy actually, this is the first time I've seen the horizon focus that he's picked up, which gives you vision if you hit stuff real far away from you. Which is, you know, for Scat of the Week with some orbs on the ground, certainly does work out. As we've got a two-man Baron going on here.
The Ghost is moving forward. It's looking for them.
I have a feeling the Ghostie's going to... Nope, doesn't actually spot anything. Control vision is there, but they move back to the Baron. It's going down pretty slowly as Vista will be able to put a ward down. And they get the bad news. Weaver's Wall comes in.
Keeps them on one side, but they're not going to be able to take this away. No one's nearby, so we'll just be the Baron. But can they make it out? Zeus playing up the front. Go ahead and protect the exit. Taunt comes in, only comes onto UCal. Pulverize, knocks Johan up into the air. He'll try to escape.
Go up to the side. You can see Vista goes in very deep, and he will be taken down. Yes, he looks pretty when he's gold, but isn't going to be able to do anything else.
Hybrid goes in deep!
Oh god, this Samira is so scary, but it's actually Bonnie that does a lot of this work. Now frontlining for Hybrid, who's trying to dash after them. Johan makes it out. Hybrid very close to dead. Still burning for a very long time, but will survive. As now Dudu off to the side. Some low health members here, but Dudu does have his ulti. Doran's going to get in here. There's the stun. Hextech ultimatum. He breaks the chains. Johan comes in and will pick up that kill.
Back off,
Spear comes forward. Good CC under Dudu, but doesn't kill him just yet as UCal just pops the Talia very comfortably. Def now trying to fight against Bonnie. Will bounce around this one as much as he can. Headbutt Pulp comes in, and yeah, UCal just collects him. His ex-teammate, very sadly, of course, KT winning, score his first domestic title. It was with UCal and Deft on the same team on KT, but Deft has defected.
I'm sure this is going to be a long replay, but we start with the Baron. Johan, he can't ride the Weaver's Wall in. He's trying to keep the team locked into the river so that they can try to find a fight, but because he doesn't ride the Weaver's Wall through, he can't get close to the Baron to try to go for a smite seal. Deft as well, not able to get close enough to try to establish a friend stacks. Vista, he's already burned the taunt. He goes golden to buy a little bit of extra time, but as he comes out of that stopwatch, there's just nothing that he can do. He's dead to rights. Then we fast forward over to this side, and it's just the inside track cut from KT. They completely deny base access away from Hanwha Live Esports. There's nowhere realistically for them to go. Deft playing this far forward likely should have just been over in the red side jungle trying to get a recall off rather than sacking himself. But instead just tries to go for the kill. Maybe could have gotten Zeus if UCal hadn't re-arrived, but literally, albeit small heals, still can offer up some level of sustain for her teammate, so it's probably just going to die anyway. We're talking about the gold lead, how it didn't really get stretched by KT. Now it absolutely has exploded.
Yeah. Not going to need to worry about talking about it being relatively even anymore.
Nope.
Especially with Baron being picked up. We've got a Baron power play that is going to be pretty massive after this one. Infernal Soul is in there as well.
And Elder Dragon spawning in 10 seconds.
Hanwha, if they were going to try and go for hard mode, this is about as hard mode as you could possibly get. UCal. You see, that's what it does. It's a little thing with the, what is it, horizon focus. It's actually pretty cool. I'm learning a lot out of this particular match. A lot of it is to do with KT being a legitimately good team. When they played in that really messy win of theirs, we didn't really feel great about it.
This is not good. Already Vista nearly dead as the Elder Dragon gets started up. He's going to have to go back to the base. He does have his ult available to try to rejoin, but he just can't even try to fight this.
Nope.
Which is the worst feeling. Due to now hook shot over the wall, because even Zeus at this point is going to start trucking people.
Oh man, and it's yeah, Deft has been Flame Horizon. It's been a long time since I've said that. Hybrid has done it though. He's been funneled so much of the gold from this team. But even so, it doesn't mean that the rest of the team's anemic or anything like that. They still have a lot to their name as well. So Hybrid just really shutting Deft out of this game so far. And welcome back. Haven't seen him on the Rift for a while. And this was probably one of the biggest pickups KT could have gone for. Zeus goes in. But Fate's Call is going to get Vista out of there. He decides to go in once more as Deft is going to use his stopwatch, but immediately just gets popped, blown up by Hybrid. Chaos Storm down there just for good measure as well, as Johan Tries to keep them out of there, and Deft has just been picked on this whole game.
It was as good as a Fate's Call as you could possibly hope for. It throws a Galio in, gets, the hit on the multiple members of the enemy team, but the lock of the Iron Solari instantly comes through from Zeus, mitigates any bit of damage Deft could possibly hope to find. He can't break the shield in a hybrid. He just yeets himself into the back line. Ult goes off, goes golden for a little bit of time. Falling low. Can they actually kill him off? The answer's going to be yes. They actually find two.
Oh,
Jovi finds the kills and have KT overstate their welcome. Bonnie and Yukal going to have to head for the hills, charging out of the base, and it's only the one inhibitor that they get off that push.
Is it the turnaround?
I swear.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You got excited? Yes. Did you get excited?
I definitely did get excited.
Oh,
and then I looked at the nameplates and I was like, oh God, what have I done?
Forgive me, Father, I have sinned.
I have absolutely sinned. However, I've been notorious for making that mistake throughout my entire career. So I guess, I'm still here. So it's not fatal, guys. KT-itis is not fatal. We do have a very cool hat for Yukal, though, and all of that money that KT was sitting on when they were pushing into the base is now going to be spent.
Yes.
We've got an Infinity Edge onto Hybrid, who's probably just going to be able to one-tap everyone. And we have a look at this fight one more time. The Weaver's Wall tries to get the fight into a better position, but they didn't have depth. And yes, Johan does some damage. Chovy needs to be respected. And I think that there was a bit of a rush of blood to the head here from Hybrid.
Yeah. Look at this. The 2-for-1 special on the Scout of the Week. Even gets the stun up there onto Yukal, but the timing stuns up Dudu, so he can't proceed forward with the hook shot.
Was that the gravity field that stunned him as he got to the wall? That was very weird.
He got stunned as he was moving out of it, and his movement off the hook shot finished.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, KT straight back into it, and they are shredding this Baron compared to last time.
Yep, Zeus just going to be a gatekeeping cow. As our second Baron, they've got an Elder already. That next one's coming up in 3 minutes' time. Dudu split pushing in his own base. Not how that one's supposed to go, guys. As Yukal and Doran just going to get to work on the top side of the map. And the other three will be mingling around the mid lane. Map control 100% in favor of KT. And I'm just so confused because their first win didn't look fantastic. I felt like we had the power level right when we were talking about Hanwha looking like the better team, but after this, I absolutely disagree with myself.
Yeah.
And that assessment, especially this version of KT that has Hybrid able to carry. Yes, he managed to get Samira. Yes, she's likely one of the strongest possible marksmen that you can pick up, but I think that there are other things that Hybrid can carry on, right? Like,
yep.
I don't think that that's the reason. I think it's just really good play. I think Zeus has played extraordinarily well in order to facilitate him as Vista goes in once again, but only gets a one-man taunt. Bonnie still going forward. Yukal, he's going to go golden. Shouldn't really be frontlining, but he doesn't seem to mind about it here as the inhibitor's going to go down. Chovy so close to being dead. Deft this time will survive as Doran, his teammate, gets taken down to about half health, but it's going to be Nexus turrets all bust here for KT. And KT are looking to go 3-0 at the beginning of the KeSPA Cup.
Yep, and they've got it. I mean, there's a lot of spear stacked into Doran, but Deft is just going to be dead right in front of the fountain. Chovy trying to stay alive. They're looking for that final kill, but Yukal actually barely manages to stay alive here at the end, so goes deathless throughout this game. 22-11, the final kill count as KT take down Hanwha Life, their biggest competition in this group, and are now 3-0.
Just ridiculous. This is not what I was expecting at all out of KT. I think they've well and truly overperformed. I hope it's not like the Afrika curse from last year where we get so incredibly hyped for a team throughout the KeSPA Cup and then it all sort of falls flat. So we are going to hold our excitement. It is, of course, KT, so that is the rule regardless. But still, a fantastic sign for a team that a lot of people didn't have too many expectations for.
Yeah.
I think that, Doran didn't necessarily have his greatest game, but Yukal was very solid, and I think Bonnie looked amazing throughout that game, and Zeus really pulled things together. I think it's the facilitation here for those sort of two utility players in the jungle and support that were really able to make sure that KT was shining in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Zeus got the pace. He got the ball rolling for them by constantly isolating Deft in that laning phase. Has the arrival of the Nidalee coming through, instantly gets the flash pulverized, headbutts him back towards the tower. They get that first blood. That was the start of the game, and then Zeus, he didn't really back down off of that level of performance for the entire time. He was constantly protecting his squad. He was playing very intelligently, whereas on the other side, Vista just couldn't find an opportunity to do a damn thing. He was constantly trying to go for plays, but they were so far behind that he would just get shredded. Yeah. It was just brutal, and I think that, again, if you take out the Galio, I was talking about this the other day about the Maokai support and whatnot. Take out the Galio, put the Leona in. I think you're going to find a lot more success because you have hard CC. You can control not as many people because you don't have that AoE taunt, but you can at least isolate and focus on somebody. So you can focus fire onto, say, the Samira, get him stunned up, chain CC, try to take him out of the fight. Pick them off one at a time, whereas they would get like 4 people CC'd and then couldn't kill anybody and then would just die. Does it take things one step at a time and just focus on one enemy player at a time? Because the team fight's not really working out for you.
And they also weren't really executing team fights in the way that you're supposed to with a Camille Galio either. Like, that whole idea of piling in, being able to have this like massive Camille that gets facilitated by a Galio, I don't think I ever saw a heroic entrance used on top of Dudu. I feel like Dudu was either late to a fight every time or was fighting off to the side. Yeah. And it was never really that 1-2 punch Camille Galio that we got so used to seeing.
Yeah, ultimate him in with the hero's entrance.
Exactly. And just wasn't really executed. And I think that Hanwha just haven't quite got themselves together just yet. Of course, Deft and Chovy have been playing together for a long time, but otherwise it's, it's a lot of new players. This was also, Winter, his debut match, and didn't necessarily look the greatest.
No.
I mean, Arthur was struggling a little bit as well, but I don't think it was quite at this point. And when you're experimenting with rosters like this, certainly there's going to be teething.
Yes, there absolutely is. There's going to be growing pains. I mean, I think that Hanwha Life is still going to be a considerably strong team when it comes down to the LCK 2021 season. It's just, might take a little bit of time to gel and figure out, which of the junglers is going to be present, at any given time. What is the strengths of Arthur comparatively? When does it make more sense for him to come in? Because so far, we saw, as far as the last games are concerned, they both played Nidalee.
Yeah. And I think Arthur's a little bit more proven, I guess. Well, actually, no, probably not. I mean, you've got playing at the top of OCE in comparison to playing in challenges in Korea. Probably still fine.
I mixed up my champions there for a second. The Talia here.
Yes. He was against a Nidalee, though, so I can see where that one came in. Plus, Nidalee won the game, so she's the one you should be focusing on. Didn't quite win this moment. This was the Yakety Sax that started everything off. This is where I thought that Hanwha were going to be able to get that stranglehold back in this game, but then this absolute disaster of a team fight occurred, and it was basically all she broke from there. Like, you saw the value of Vista. Like, that was a great zoning ultimate, but that's not proactive, and that's not how you're supposed to use what they actually had here.
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit unfortunate. Deft also had an absolute horror of a game. Really wasn't the Deft that we were used to seeing. I think that, even in their loss, Deft played very well. But this was like, his early 2015 Kalista, not his late 2015 Kalista where he learned how to play the champion. This was not the performance that Deft wanted to have.
It certainly was not. I mean, the Kalista, it's a bold pick. It can really excel. It can pop off. I think that maybe something safer like the Misfortune, which he is obviously also extremely well versed on, might have been good. Obviously, you have to stand still when it comes down to the whole time. It does make you a prime target for the Alistar. But if you get something like the Gale Force, it gives you that extra dash. You do have a little bit of an opportunity to escape, and you can also harass and delay the enemy coming at you with the Make It Rain at a distance.
Yep.
I think that maybe that would have worked out a little bit better for them after losing out in the fairly early game during the laning phase. Good early aggression, but as soon as the third party got introduced, it all just started to fall apart. This was the scary moment here for KT, but UCall surviving.
I was so confused about that hookshot. I'm so glad that we realized that it was somehow the gravity field as he drove by it. stunning him when he hit into the wall.
Yeah, fortunate timing there for UCal for sure to make sure that he keeps his perfect score.
Yeah, UCal having a great game, actually. Sort of reminds us of that 2018 final, right? That was UCal versus Chovy. And the result was the same.
Well, Chovy did his damnedest.
He did. He definitely did. But sometimes these are the games that Chovy experiences, right? Like, the guy is very, very good, but when he has to teleport out of team fights in order to go to a top lane to try and collect some extra gold to perhaps be able to carry, that's not exactly the moment that you're looking for. The extra, you know, laning prowess and the farming and everything was great, but not enough to get them over the line here as Hanwha Life versus Gen.G will be coming up in about an hour's time.
55 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. So, you know, go grab some food or something like that, and we'll see you in a bit.